And I am live. I'm Two Turtle Tom. Welcome, everyone. Tonight, we're going to talk all about the Turtle and Tortoise Preservation Group meeting, which is happening as we speak. We are not going to feel sorry for ourselves that we're not there. We are going to have a direct connection eventually when they end the talks for the day, and Matthew will be able to join us. But late breaking news, they are about 30 to 45 minutes behind, believe it or not. So they were supposed to end at about 6:15, and Ty Park will be giving the last talk. So, bottom line, we're going to stick around and we're going to chat. We're going to have fun. We're going to talk turtles. We're going to talk Turtle and Tortoise Preservation Group. I've been to two conferences. And when Matthew gets here, we will be able to talk. He has lined up, he promises me, he has lined up several attendees so we can talk directly and have that live tap right into the Turtle and Tortoise Preservation Group meeting. But like I said, they're running behind, which is not uncommon. So we've got Sam in the chat, Christopher Richard, Wes Coleman, and Sebastian. Gentlemen, welcome. If you're out there watching, please tell me you're there so we can shout you out. I've got my daughter Paige watching upstairs. Thank you very much, Paige, for joining us. Paige is 7, and I am watching all the kids while Megan, who hopefully is also watching, is taking a much needed trip to Victoria, British Columbia, and it's perfect timing that Mike from CNC Tortoises has just joined on because Megan is now in British Columbia, but it turned out that she wasn't actually going to Vancouver. She was going to Vancouver Island, which is totally different. So she is in the capital city of British Columbia called Victoria, giving her talk and going to a midwifery conference. So Mike's here. Wally B. Wally, thanks for joining us. Patrick Lee is here. Mikey Ben. Mikey Ben, I am about to join the club, man. The Chameleon Club. Yes, that is the news. But for those of you that just joined us, late breaking news from the Turtle and Tortoise Preservation Group meeting is that they are running behind. So Ty Park from Iguanaland, he is the last speaker, and apparently he just started talking, and he was supposed to end at 6:15 Mountain Time, and now they're behind. So we are gonna wait. We are gonna have fun. We're gonna talk. We're gonna chat. We're gonna talk hingebacks, talk TTPG. Let's talk about anything you want to talk about. And Mikey Ben, yeah. So Mikey Ben's my chameleon buddy, and thank you, Mikey Ben, for recommending a guest. I need to do that. So Mike lives on Vancouver Island now. Hey, there you go. We just couldn't swing it. I needed to stay home and watch the kids and the dog and run the home show. So, well, the Turtle and Tortoise Preservation Group, if you are a member of the Facebook page, they had a great group photo today. It looks like they had amazing turnout, and as I was chatting with Matthew this morning, what he said is there are all kinds of new young people there. So that's super exciting. I know a lot of you also wanted to go. And it's time for a Tom Reptile Room tour. I would do it if I could, but I am on my computer and I am upstairs. So I think that I will do that though because I'm coming up on 5,000 subscribers, guys. Can you believe that? 5,000. So thank you so much for getting out the word. And when I do 5,000, I'm going to do a big tour, and I've been making some videos, guys. I've received some new animals, and I'm doing some great things, and just really, winter is the time I really just kind of dial in that turtle room and really get it running when it gets dark at 5 p.m. So Brian Selvik has joined us. Hello, Brian. Welcome. Um, we are going to have Matthew Hills tonight from the Turtle and Tortoise Preservation Group meeting. However, they're running behind. This is not unusual. I bet people are very, very hungry. It's almost 6 o'clock. And, I think they start at 9. So they've had a long day of talks. So Thursday is the big day of talks. You start 8:30ish, have a couple talks, a little break, visit the vendors. Usually ZoomEd is there, Ashley Rademacher from ZoomEd, and you can see all of their new products. They often have samples. You can bring turtle and tortoise food, vitamins, little uh, water conditioner packets, just all kinds of super fun stuff. There are other vendors there. It just depends. There's not a ton, but usually Timberline is there. But I always enjoy seeing Zoom Ed. And sometimes Mark from the Smart Tortoise Keeper. I forget Mark's last name, but he is also on. So, who we're missing tonight is Podrick. We need Podrick, man. I wonder what Podrick is up to. Uh yeah, he always has some good words of wisdom. So what's up, guys? Tell us what I want to know what you will be shopping for in the next 10 days that's turtle related. What Black Friday deals are you going to take advantage of? Because man, I'm starting to get inundated with all of these uh, animal discounts. And so tell me in the chat what are you looking for right now? Are you looking to get a gift for other people? Or are you thinking about, finding a aquarium for half off? Are you looking for a fluval discount? So Sam says he's looking for husky shelves. That's right. Gotta love these really strong shelves that you can just put a ton of weight on those things. So Wesley is asking, do I work with any arid species? I'm thinking of switching to all humid species, but I love my pancake. So, Wesley, what's really interesting about a lot of the hingebacks is that they're from tropical Africa, but they have wet and dry seasons. So, during the wet season, it's it's really wet and it's tropical, but during the dry season, it is really, really dry. So, I specifically don't work with arid species, but in general, what I think, as I've worked more and more with tortoise species, there's not really such thing as an arid tortoise because all tortoises are looking for these microclimates, right? So if the sulcata, yes, it lives in the Sahel, it's very dry there, but they're digging underground to get to that nice, moist, moderate temperature. So Patrick Lee needs more lights. I need more lights. Who doesn't need more UVB? I have completely gone over to Arcadia, and I almost exclusively buy my Arcadia stuff from Light Your Reptiles. So I also need more lights. Brian Selvik says front opening enclosures. Yeah. So Brian, are you talking about the Exoterra glass ones, or are you more talking about the like PVC style enclosures? And what are you going to put in those? Um, so yeah, Brian also says lights. Um, yeah, if so now I'm starting to use more PVC snake enclosures for tortoises. I have them custom made so they're a little deeper. My home hingebacks can lay eggs in there. And so I put in a 24-inch Arcadia UVB and a heat panel and a thermostat. And so a 4x2 by 2 with Arcadia. I mean, you're looking at like 600 bucks minimum once you do all of that. So well, Sebastian says he's eyeing the no gooey. Uh, there's animals that I produced, and there's animals that someone else produced there. Um, Mine are the smaller, more affordable ones, but the other ones are good and were also produced by Kinex's working group member. So check them out. That's the way that I distribute my animals. I work with Jay Frewer of Turtles and Tortoises Inc., and that is how I'm able to offer animals to really anybody that wants them. So Brian is keeping baby box turtles in those enclosures. He wants to get more use. He wants to get the animals used to him coming to the front and not from above. Totally, that's just so much more interactive. And I've got two of my Homiana. I made a video on that with that type of enclosure, and it just super super cool. So yeah. Christopher Richard would like a Black Friday special on his property tax. Can't help you there. I wish. Wouldn't that be great, if you, I don't know, paid your taxes like up front or something, and you got a 20% discount or something. But no, that doesn't work. So Brian Selvik says he is looking for glass exoteras. He currently keeps them using the garden state method. So that would be um, aquatic and in tubs probably. So you know, I don't. I have my. Yep. Oh, Megan is here. So Megan Mike CNC Tortoises. He said earlier he's about 40 miles north of Victoria, where Megan is right now, and she is joining us in the chat. And Paige is watching. I left Paige upstairs, and she's super sleepy, so I think she's gonna fall asleep. But she's watching. So Paige, another shout out. Yesterday evening on Sean's show, Sean McZoo, my buddy, the Reptile Show reporter, he does a show Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Check it out. Also on YouTube, Reptile Show reporter. He shouted out Paige, and she just loved that. So that was super cool. So, Sebastian, yeah, what would you like to know about the no gooey, those Western hinchback tortoises? I love them. I mean, they're just my favorite tortoise. They have been. I started off with Homiana, but there's just something so chill and nice about a Western hinchback. They don't get huge. They're just friendly, calm, interactive animals. Real big eyes. Um, Super neat coloration on their shell. It's really neat to watch them kind of go from a brownish to a blackish, and then once they get about 3 or 4 inches, they start getting all of this marbling, and watching how individual animals that changes. Some of them have more marbling, some of them have less. Females tend to be darker with more contrast, whereas the males tend to be a little bit more drab. But I have very interesting male no gooey as well with great patterns. So I think they're a wonderful tortoise. They they do well in areas that have pretty dry winters because that kind of replicates their dry season. And so Megan is with her friend Jane, and they both wondered what Paige was up to. And that's what she's up to. She's watching. So say hi to Paige. And, you know, we could even have a guest. We could bring on a guest early if we wanted. Um, so just tell me. Um, but here's the bottom line, guys: is that the turtle and tortoise preservation meeting is going on right now. Matthew Hills is there. He has been there at least since Tuesday night. There's this great picture of everybody at a Japanese steakhouse, and Michael Thathuvaswamy is like, he had no clue what was going on. He looked dazed and confused, but everybody else looked like they were having fun in that picture, and it is kind of like a big party. Um, yeah, Sebastian, the bells. What when you say bells, are you talking about those Kenyan animals that have been so tricky? Um, yeah, the Nogui number one, they're an extremely rare tortoise, right? I mean, Jeremy Thompson, myself, and Andrew Hermes are the only people that are producing these. Jeremy and I now each have several pairs cranking. So, you're going to be working with an animal that hardly anybody has. But yeah, once you get it as a baby, I mean, they're so cute. It is so cool to watch this tiny little tortoise eat like a little red wiggler or mushrooms or something like that. So, Podrick has arrived, but alas, Podrick, you are not late. But we did note your absence, and I wondered where you were. However, um, the conference in Mesa, Arizona is running behind. So, unfortunately, it's just going to take Matthew a little bit longer. But you know what? We're gonna hang out and have fun. So I'm just gonna go in here, check my messages. Nope, nothing going yet. So, uh, great talks today for sure. Were on the docket. Will Espenshade gave away all of his secrets for how he dries plants at home, and uh, Wayne Hill, the famous Wayne Hill, who has a turtle facility. I've never been there, but I was able to kind of geolocate it on an aerial, and I wasn't really sure what to expect with Wayne and his facility, but it's not huge. I pictured like this, I don't know, giant industrial warehouse or something like that, but it's definitely more of a home based business. Kind of more along the lines of what Mark Cantos had. Of course, he has more land now, but Podrick's trying to make excuses for being late. But you know what? Um, you got to eat, Podrick. You got to eat. So if you don't eat, that's not good. So, Turtle and Tortoise Preservation Group. If you have been to a meeting, say me in the chat. So who has been to the Turtle and Tortoise Preservation Group meetings? Anyone here? Obviously, I've been. But yeah, say in the chat. Just say me. Um, they're really interesting. That Phil says, after seeing Will's air drying method, I feel so ashamed for buying an electric dehydrator. I mean, yeah, you know what though? Will like lives in like the perfect climate for drying things. Like Southern California, San Diego. It's nice all the time. There's a breeze. It's not humid. It's fairly dry. I've got an electric dehydrator. It just is something that I don't know, Megan. How did we get that? Was that something you had? I had. I mean, we've had that forever. And yes, Megan is in the chat tonight, guys, because she is in Victoria, British Columbia, Canada. So But yeah, who's been to TTPG? Anybody? Anybody? Um, and if you haven't, um, to go there, you're gonna fly or drive into Phoenix, and it's pretty easy to get from the airport to Mesa, Arizona, and you can even do it on public transportation. Megan says that Ben, her brother, bought the dehydrator for her mom probably 30 years ago. So I think there was a time like in the late 80s or early 90s when it was cool to try to make fruit roll ups at home because I think my mom had the same exact thing. So Podrick says he has a dehydrator, but he has picky butt tortoises that refuse uh, it. Um, you gotta mix that stuff. Megan says that's why we bought it. Yeah, because Ben was like, "Hey, I want like natural fruit roll ups, so I'll buy this for my mom, and she can make me fruit roll ups." But yeah, totally. I don't know. It was a fad. I think just after the steamer basket in the '80s, and now we have things like air fryers. Uh, yeah, you get the idea. So we are going to have Matthew live from TTPG, but he wants to. He actually wants to see the talks, guys. Unfortunately, and uh, no, I don't. I give him. We want him to see the talks so he can tell us about the talks. The last talk of the night. Megan says we dry leaves. Yes, we do. The last talk of the night is Ty Park, and Ty is the businessman extraordinaire that lives in Punta. Actually, I don't even think he really lives there. Maybe just he has a house there, but I don't think that's really his real residence or his full time residence. Maybe I don't know. But yeah, Ty is awesome. He's super friendly. He's kind of shared, with me some of the trials, successes, tribulations of setting up Iguana Land, and um, it's a world class facility. I would love to take Brody there. Maybe it would be a good place. You could fly into Punta Gorda on Allegiant Airlines. That's how you go to Iguanaland. If Allegiant flies to your city, then you probably have a direct flight to Punta Gorda, which is in the Fort Myers area. So Patrick, do the Hermans and Redfoots eat dry? Oh, the mushrooms are for him. So yes, Breeze flies to Fort Myers, but man, Allegiant flies to Punta Gorda, right where Iguanaland is, and it's like 10 miles from the airport. So that is pretty darn good. But yeah, so Ty's giving the last talk, and that is the dealio there. Gonna take a look at the agenda. Mesa is like a little suburb of Phoenix. So if you've never been there, it's not like this conference is in a downtown area. It's kind of decidedly suburban, and Mesa itself has like a main drag, and there's some pawn shops and there's some antique stores, but it doesn't have it's not run down, but it's not like hopping, if you know what I mean. Um, so Phil says that he wishes the TTPG talks were recorded and published on YouTube. I would still go to meet people when I can't. It would be nice to see them. Yeah, I it would, and that's just not a direction they've gone yet. But keep asking, and maybe one day it will be able to be so. it would be nice even if they just put out abstracts. But I remember talking to Russ pre-pandemic, and Russ Gurley, he is the founder of TTPG and the organizer of the conference. He shared with me that the fear there that nobody would come to the conference if they could see it online. But I think they're getting new young blood, and I think that's encouraging. And yeah, you just can't make it every year. We're having a Connexus working group meeting that I won't be able to attend, just because um, I'm not there. So that's okay. Yeah, Podrek. Yeah, some people cannot travel, right? It's just not in the cards. I mean, Phoenix. So Mesa. It's just this kind of weird. Um, it's all gridded out. So all the streets, like every single one of them, are at right angles, and the conference center. There's basically like a hotel and some banquet rooms, big banquet rooms. There's this auditorium, which is where the talks are. That's that kind of sloped room with the nice, comfortable chairs and the big stage that you see. And then there's a big exhibit hall that they have. So, all within this essentially one building. Maybe you have to walk outside for a little bit. You can go from the hotel to the talks to the reptile show on Saturday, and we have our banquet in the big room. So Phil says that his local turtle society, which I believe is the Mid Atlantic Turtle and Tortoise Society, Phil. I've been talking to Katrina Smith quite a bit the past 48 hours. Um, look for a video to come soon. I just yeah. So had the he says he had the society had the same fears during the pandemic and remote meetings. It was still been a big success. So yep, Matt's Phil says so. That's an amazing group. And um, Patrick Lee says torts don't like dehydrated food, but the dogs love the dehydrated sweet potatoes. I mean, what I do, I dehydrate stuff so I can rehydrate it again. It's all about storage for me, and then you don't have to put it in the freezer. So I'm gonna send Matthew a little note and see how things are going, and see how Ty is doing. So it sounds like nobody in the room, nobody on the chat has been to TTPG. Um, it's definitely kind of biased towards men. There's a lot of dudes there, um, and it's kind of been an older crowd recently. So if you're joining us a little later, you would have missed me talking about Matthew telling me that there's a lot of young people there this year, and I think that'll just continue to be true as more young people, I think, find out about the organization via Facebook. And Sam says he will be there next year. How many zeros is that? 100,000%. 100,000%. And dragging his girlfriend. Maybe just, Brian says he will also be there next year. And I mean, what I would like to see is that venue filled, right? I don't want to see any empty chairs. And Brian also says he would like to go to Animal Con. So Animal Con, it'll be interesting to see what happens there. Um, we have been to the Reptarium as a family, and super fun time. We love it, don't we, Megan? Even Megan will tolerate it for an hour, and just knowing that when you go visit the Reptarium, which is run by Brian Barczyk, owner of Animal Con, yeah, you're only going to be there an hour. So then it's done. She can tolerate that for the kids. So yeah, Padraig is saying lots more young people that keep turtles and tortoises are finding about the online community. And yeah, I I don't remember when the TTPG started their discussion group, but it wasn't all that long ago, and it's kind of been under the radar. But just in the past 3 months, I feel like there have been a ton of new people on that group. Just the other day, I saw something like, um, you know, the the I don't know. I totally lost my train of thought. So, okay, guys, it is 8:30, and I'm expecting Matthew in about, well, hopefully any time. We're gonna take a brief pause. I'm gonna go check on Paige, who's upstairs, to see if she's still awake or if she's fallen asleep. And if she's still awake, then she'll be expecting me. So we're just gonna show a little video clip, and I'm gonna be back after I go check on her, and then stick around because we're gonna have be live as soon as they're done talking. Matthew's got his laptop there, and he's gonna try to pull in some people to talk about the different talks. Who knows? He might just be ambushed with people just interrupting. I don't know. We'll see. But I'll be back. Give me a couple minutes, and we'll be right back. Okay, that video must have ended, but so that worked. So what I what I did, I put the video on, and I went and checked on Paige, who had my phone, and I told her the stream's over. It's time to go to bed, and so I took my phone and we set her up with a meditation on Amazon, or actually, it's through Spotify. If you guys have kids, I'll tell you what these are called. Matthew just messaged me. He says Ty is still speaking, and what is the name of these for you guys that have kids? It's called New Horizons Kids Meditation, and they kind of talk like this, very calm and relaxed. So yep, she's going to bed now. So I can't do it. So okay, let me catch up with a chat. Okay, we're talking about our age. Brian says he's 36 and he still feels young. Um, so what Matthew says, he's just going to use his phone and walk around as everyone is in the lobby. That way people can see what it's like and see the vendors and all the people. And so yeah, Matthew, that sounds great. So we're just going to hang until that and chat. Um, Podrick is the OG. He's 74. He Matthew says there are so many people here. I've seen tons of younger folks. And if you look at that group photo is huge, huge, huge. The first photo that Ralph, Russ took, it didn't look like that many people were there. But no, Matthew says there's tons. Um, let's ask Matthew, who are some of those young people? Let's see what he says. Let's go back to the chat. Podrick, the OG, 74. Congrats, Podrick. Um, everybody liked the lava lamp from Restream. Thank you. Patrick says most of his torts and turtles come from Matt's. So, yeah, I love, they'll ship animals. And Katrina Smith gets the credit for coordinating all of that stuff. So, um, yes, Sam says it takes him back to his going to nightclubs in Chicago. Oh yeah, yeah. Sebastian is 24 and feels old, and Patrick says he wished he was 24. Josh 26 and Sam 25. Gentlemen, so I'm 44 years young, but that's hard for me to believe because at heart, I'm no older than 32. Let's go back to the chat. Matthew is typing. Who are some of the young people? Dawson Lawler, Dan Reller, Connor Dixon are a few. A bunch more I haven't directly met yet. So Dan, I think, is from Dan's Turtle Room, not Dan the Turtle Man, who has gone Dan the Batman. So, Chris, hang on to that 40 generation as long as you can. It's hard to believe I'm halfway through it. Phil says, Florida, red belly cooter going to Florida from Matt's next week. Yeah, those are huge, huge turtles. Podrick says, Tom, my brother is flying me to Willington for TG. And I've been running around getting all the indoor tortoises and blue tongues ready for my buddy to come feed while I'm gone. That sounds like a lot of work. What is Willington for TG? Wilmington, maybe? Mikey Ben, he's old enough to be a dad to most of you hitting 56 this weekend. Happy birthday, Mikey Ben. And thank you for joining us. So Yeah, so Mesa, it's kind of the Thursday, there's no lunch provided. So the first day of the conference, and everybody has to go out to eat. And the problem is, there's not that many places to go out to eat, and they're not used to a big lunch rush. And so what happens is that it takes forever. And then they start late. And yeah, I understand, to keep the conference cheap, they need to they I mean, it's probably would add $40 for another group meal or something like that. But man, it takes so long to get people. Willington, North Carolina, or Wilmington. And what's TG? What's TG? Yeah, Wilmington, North Carolina. What's TG? I don't know. Um, Wilmington. Yeah, cool. Uh, are you gonna go see the USS North Carolina? Because that's there, I believe. And I've been there like when I was 12, back before they painted the USS North Carolina, the sort of original World War II rangefinder preventing uh, um, uh, colors, whatever paint scheme, and now it has that, and it looks bad, bad. It looks bad. I mean, good. Um, Thanksgiving. Yeah. Okay. I've heard of that. So Matthew, I was trying to get Matthew to not go to Ties Talk because I was going to say, um, they do botanical gardens. So yeah, you're going to be down there on the coast. In North Carolina, you have this place called the Juniper Level Botanic Garden that is run by a man named Tony Avent. That's in Raleigh, but that is a pretty amazing place. And yeah, a lot of good gardens in North Carolina. You have the Bartlett Arboretum, which I don't think is open to the public. Their research facility. You have the J.C. Ralston Arboretum down in South Carolina. You have the what's it called? Brook Green Gardens. That's a pretty cool place. But yeah, so there's like a little gnat flying around my microphone, and I can hear it in my headphones. That's nuts. Um, this mic is extremely powerful, and I hear more than you can hear because the software filters out a lot of what the mic picks up. But man, that's nuts. Patrick Lee will be 56 on the 28th. Lots of November birthdays. Happy, happy birthday. And Podrick has been to Tony's place. Um, the estate with hundreds of camellias. Yeah, we don't. It's hard for us to grow camellias and stewardias up this way. Although it's it's easier than ever. Podrick knows what I'm talking about as far as plants go. So we are getting a chameleon, everybody. If you've had a chameleon as a pet, shout out in the chat. Just say yes, yes, I've had a chameleon. Anybody has had a chameleon? Oh, so does exotics. Sam must have switched here. He says his girlfriend says lots of November birthdays because of Valentine's Day. What happens, Sam? Do tell. Um, that's hilarious. I know, yeah, I know. Like I actually this week on Facebook, uh I had six friends. I'm up over 1,000 friends on Facebook now. It's kind of ridiculous. I don't know half the people, but uh yeah, stork comes along. So Christopher had a Jackson's chameleon, was a great animal. Um, I'm getting a helmeted chameleon. Podrick had Brady Podion, the dwarf African chameleons in the early 90s. So, you know, over the years, as different chameleons have been imported, it's not like turtles and tortoises. I'm still working with animals that were imported in the 90s that have just survived for 20 to 30 years. And chameleons don't live that long. That's one of the interesting things I've learned about them. But I am getting a helmeted chameleon. That is the chameleon that I will be getting, and it's Trioceros honelli. Um, they're from Kenya primarily, also Uganda. Josh had a veiled chameleon when he was a kid, and I've never had a chameleon, and I'm super excited. The the Honelli's yeah. So a lot of people have had chameleons. I just never did. I would occasionally see Senegals when I was a kid, but yeah. And of course, my eyes are starting to dry out. That's never fun. Ugh. Short timers, yeah, like back in the 80s, 90s. If you kept the chameleon alive 6 months, that was a good thing. Not so much anymore. So, um, 5 to 10 years for some of these species is possible. So, um, wow. Birmingham, I was there, right? I think I was there. Yeah, I was in Birmingham. It's the South, man. The South is. I'll just tell you, I got to go to a lot of places that I would have never been able to see had I not done the Quercus Austrina trip. That's the Bluff Oak trip. We stayed in a lot of tiny little small towns, and it's just it's some of these places. It's just kind of like time stood still. Interesting. My right eye is gonna just go dry on me, so gonna check in with Matthew again, see how Ty's doing. He's talking as we speak. Um, yeah, so it's they're going almost to 7 o'clock. That's too long, man. That's like 12, 11 hours of conference. Um, okay, so I'm getting one chameleon, and I'm going to put it in a leap enclosure that my buddy Sean McZoo had extra, and I am putting a lot of plants and a lot of sticks in there. Excuse me, and UVB, a mister, maybe a fogger. This chameleon species is one that uh, likes the cold. So that's one of the reasons I picked it. Sorry, I'm rubbing my eyes. Um, One of the reasons I picked it is because they like these cool temperatures, and we have a very deep basement. Like our drain is actually above the level of the floor, so we have to pump any of the sump pump water out um, to the drain, um, or and also like gray water from the sink down there. We actually have to pump it up to go into the sewer system. It's so deep. So it's like 60 degrees and sometimes down to 50 in there. And so that is why I'm getting this chameleon species. Just one that is they love these cooler temperatures. Um, like I've seen pictures of them in the snow. They're montane chameleons, but not all of the Honellis are from those areas, so it's kind of hard to know. Yeah, good. Yeah, yeah. It's there's a lot of bright light too. So it's cold, bright light. But you don't think of snow in Kenya. It snows in Kenya on the top of the mountains. And most of like, Kenya is like Nairobi is like Denver. It's 6,000 feet, and much of Kenya is 6,000 feet above sea level, and the middle of it is a big valley. That's where you have those rift lakes. That's a bit lower, but even those rift lakes are still fairly high. Um, I'm gonna see how high Lake Tanganyika is, for example. Yeah, so Lake Tanganyika is 2,537 feet. That's nuts. It's like a really high lake. Um, let's see here. Matthew's sending me a new message. Um, what 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 is this saying? Oh, I can't. He's starting. He's starting questions. He's starting questions. Ty is starting questions. So if anybody has a question for Ty Park about Iguanaland, put it in the chat and I'll send it to Matthew and he can ask it and I'll tell you what Ty says. So yeah, I'm serious. Um, we'll uh, we'll send a chat. We'll send a chat to Ty. Talk more about Nogui. So Phil, there are some available on turtlesandtortoises.com that I hatched. Um, I just love them. I think they have these amazing personalities. They make great pets for like single pets. They're not a great species to keep in groups. They can fight. The females will flip each other, and the males just don't like each other. Okay, okay. Here he is. Hey, live from
All right, so we just got done with the talks. We're just missing now. So basically, when you're here, when Steven Cifuentes,
there's
bunch of
Steven
people here,
Cifuentes. Oh,
turn the camera around, gotta turn around. Yeah, Steven, how do I turn this around? I don't know, you tell me. What is it? Yeah, so basically, this is where all of the classes are, all the talks.
yep.
You know, snacks over on the side. That's what happened today.
Hey,
But
Steven's
you
got
got,
something on his lip.
yeah, it's a
He's got
muscle.
he's got he's he's got something on his lip.
Yep. So out in the lobby, you're gonna have reps. You got Zoom Ed. You've got a big booth. Timberline's got a big booth. got a ton of books. And the registration's on the other side.
There's
And
another
then
dude with a mustache.
all the way down, we got more stuff. We got Bob Kraus. Yeah, there's
Hello, Bob Kraus. Congratulations on your book release.
Matt Peterson.
There's Ralph Till.
Anthony Perleone, Tony Monahan, Dan Reller, Mark Da Silva, Harley
Ask
Wallace.
Mark when he's going to be a guest. There's Harley. I just sent Harley some hingebacks.
Yep. Harley just got some hingebacks. Yeah, there's a ton of people. Everyone's just, right now, we got out so late today that everyone's we're all pretty hungry. It's been a long time since lunch, but the talks went over a little bit today, which I kind of should have expected, but they were really, really good talks. It was an excellent lineup. Paul Vandersol had an awesome snake neck talk. We had an awesome vet discussion with him this morning. So yeah, it honestly, and I think somebody always asks why don't they take video. It won't do it justice because half of it is talking to the people you see around here. That's what it's all about. So I mean, you make connections here, you're not going to go anywhere else. I highly recommend anyone who gets a chance to come out. You'll be glad you did.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's end of day one of the talks. So day two, and then the auction expo are on Saturday. Expo, the rest of the expo on Sunday.
Very cool. What was your favorite talk?
I gotta admit, honestly, it was hard. I mean, and it's not even. I mean, in what regard? I mean,
what's the most memorable talk?
Wayne Hill, definitely the funniest. I mean, Wayne
Yeah.
Hill
Okay.
Fantastic. I was David. Turn to Jackie. He did one on incubation, and an incubator that he's actually built from the ground up, sort of boards and everything. That was phenomenal. Really enjoyed that. But I also, I mean, Paul's talk on statements. Cimarensis is kind of my absolute favorite. So.
Could you step outside for a second? Because we're getting so much room noise.
Sorry. Yeah, it was actually.
I think this, yeah. Oh, perfect. Oh, yeah, that's so much better.
Some other guys that you'll meet here, and then you probably never want to go on a live stream.
Andrew, how's it going?
Nice.
Andrew Hermes, Arizona Tortoise Compound.
Yeah. So there's,
Awesome.
I mean, like I said, you got Betsy Meeker who's just walking by, and I mean, there's people here that you hear about, you read about, you read their articles, you read how they've done things that work and others don't. So yeah, I mean, it's.
Where you been? I've been here. I haven't seen you though. No, I was gonna say I've seen everybody else.
Awesome. Does anybody have what are your questions for Matthew? Put them in the chat.
I saw you one.
I can't see.
How was how was the field trips?
So the field trip ended up being pretty interesting. The field trip this year was 2 nurseries down in Tucson. So it involved all of us getting on the bus, like we will, but then driving down to Tucson and hitting the nurseries. The first nursery was a really, really large nursery, largest dry climate nursery in the U.S. And that was really, really interesting. I think for a lot of people, it didn't necessarily apply to them a ton. Like Cameron Lamb, he bought like $200 worth of stuff. He loved it, like he was getting a ton. But what I found, and then we went to lunch after that, and we were hitting the second nursery, and they ended up not even showing up. for the nursery. So that was a bomb. The people that they're not open on Wednesday, but they're opening for us, and they dropped the ball and didn't come. But it
That
worked out
sucks.
to be. It did, but I've talked to a lot of people. It ended up being a better deal because we were all on the bus and we were all just talking. We were swapping seats. We were moving here. Tons of conversations going on. Tons of networking. Tons of good stories and what's working. I learned a couple different things about water temperature changes in uh, Marimis and things that they've seen happen. And I had just seen the same thing happen for the first time in my Amarensis. I had no idea what was going on.
Hmm.
I had no idea what was causing. So I pulled it out, and now that he explained it to me, it makes sense because I had pulled them out and they had warmed, or excuse me, warmed up a little bit to what the temperature was, and then they were fine. I had them outside and I moved them inside, and the temperature change from being colder outside to being a little warmer inside will make their equilibrium go. They'll start floating to the side, and they can eventually die if you leave them like that. Which
Hmm.
I'm glad I was cautious of and pulled them out. So yeah, that's something I learned just sitting in a bus talking with other keepers. Documented it. So it was excellent, excellent. Pretty good talk about Tink today. There's going to be another talk tomorrow about Tink. That was very scary.
Testidine intranuclear coccidiosis.
Coccidia.
What were the main other than being scary, which it is scary, although it's not that bad.
Yeah. Well, it was good to hear today that it's treatable with good outcomes afterwards.
Yeah.
It was specifically for Galapagos tortoises.
Mm.
So I don't have Galapagos, but doesn't mean I can't get it. So it just reinforced good quarantine protocol.
Yep.
Good, honestly, good waste cleanup inside during closures. Hold on one sec. Mark Cantos had an unbelievable.
Mark.
doing there,
We're live on Two Turtle Tom's Facebook.
Daniel Parker had recorded my talk. If anybody else wants to record,
Hey.
Oh, sweet.
That's nice. It was
511
great.
slides in 39 minutes, so it would be
Yeah,
too boring.
an amazing amount of slides. His video presentation, his slides, pictures, all top notch. He did an excellent job. And yeah, it was a really good discussion with his too. His place is amazing. I mean, he put a lot of work into that. So Anthony
Mark.
Leone had an amazing talk about his.
What were like his talk was like, secrets unveiled or something like that.
No, I mean a lot of his just involved his journey from when he moved in 2018 to what he's built in the location he's at now, his greenhouse and how it was built, and where he's had success, what things he's had success with, not necessarily all detailed for each specific species, but just what he's had success with. And, so a lot of times how long it took him to have success with it. So those were all really good things. Just here, we're not the only ones not having. I'm not the only one not having success in it.
Well, it's really hard, and I tend to forget how hard it can be to work with a new species, and just because I've been working with the same ones for a long time. But even just getting the three-toed box turtles, that's been a learning experience. I didn't have any eggs laid with those three females that I got at all.
Yep.
So nothing. Of course, one that laid eggs last year wasn't in good health. But yeah, just knowing these little tips or tricks that it's really hard to describe in an online forum unless that person spends like an hour writing a book almost and detailing everything.
And a lot of times it doesn't even translate in video because in a conversation, something, even if we're watching a video, there's something that someone's not going to understand that I'm trying to describe or not understand that you're trying to describe.
Mm-hmm.
And in a conversation, they can just stop you and say, well, what do you mean by that? Or how do you do that? Explain that. You can't do that in a video. And I mean, that's really, I
Yeah.
think, why it's so important to come to things like this, because after every talk, they have a question and answer. It's like, wait, and some of the talks, especially with the incubation, I mean, it goes, why'd you do this? How'd you do that? And it's awesome to see different people have questions that are similar to yours, and then another people will ask questions that you didn't even think about. You hadn't thought of it that way, and now that they asked it that way, you're like, well, was I even thinking the right thing? So yeah, I mean, it's really good to have that ability in a setting like this.
Cool. Sam is wondering where's Dawson? There he is.
Sam just asked where you were.
Hey, Sam. Hey, Tom.
How's it
Learned a
going?
lot. I wish you guys were here.
And he's learning a lot. He's wished you guys were here.
Awesome.
I've got my earbuds in because I was hoping to cut down on the sound and so that I could hear you guys.
Yeah, well, that's probably the only way you can hear us.
Yeah.
By having those
it's pretty loud
earbuds. What other questions do you guys have for Matthew? Put them in the chat. Phil says that you are beautiful, Matthew. So
it's because I position myself directly behind the light.
Great
so
angle.
It looks
good
like
light.
I'm angelic with the light behind me. I'm more angelic.
Yeah. That is funny. How about the keynote talks this morning? What were they like?
I got Jeremy Thompson.
Oh, look at that!
You guys live?
Yeah. You guys live? Yeah.
The man, the myth, legend. I gotta look up for Anthony. Hey, Anthony, how's it going?
He's in your ear.
Yeah.
Who's watching this? If everyone's here,
Phil
you
Simpson.
Guys think you should be here.
the people who couldn't make it, and that's been me many times, so I get it. So it's unfortunate. Can't make it every year.
I get it, man. I get it. Yeah. So and that's just it. Like, it's walking around, it's running into people, it's having conversations you just don't have anywhere else.
Yeah. I haven't made it 2 years in a row yet, right? And if you make it 2 years in a row, you just see more people. Because sometimes people are on every other year or that kind of thing. So
this is my third straight year, and it gets better every time.
On Friday. I know.
Yeah. Sam says that Anthony is slacking on his podcast.
You got another person saying you're slacking on your podcast.
Sam Schulman.
That's what Sam Schulman said.
Which one?
Totally devoted, I'm guessing.
Oh, I know. It's tough.
Sam, he's bigger than you, by the way, just so you know.
He's a lot
I
bigger.
don't know if you're aware.
He's a college athlete.
Was a college athlete.
You're always once a college athlete, always a college athlete. Ugh. Anthony.
Yeah.
Phil Simpson says Anthony is the man that has made his collection complete.
Just wait till he starts hatching out more Maccordi and they become available for everyone else. He swears it's gonna happen soon. He's been saying that for a couple of years.
Podrick needs a female Golden Greek and a female Marginated. He wants you to find him those.
Well, if the female Marginated comes along, I'm not sending him your way. She's going to be staying in my group to join my males.
Why are there so few female Marginated tortoises? What
the
heck?
I was talking with Andrew Hermes about that on Tuesday when I went out to his place. I honestly think they need to be incubated at an even higher temperature than most testudos. Russians 91, I'm getting all females, but I think Marginated would go like 92. I don't know. I don't know. I've never hatched them, so everything I'm talking about is out my butt.
Yeah.
It's all speculation.
Got it.
On my understanding of it. And the fact that all we're seeing is male. So, I mean, I raised up a group of 9
Every single one of them
See
were
a
boys.
I didn't see a single female. So
Wow. Yeah, and you're talking about incubation in the 90s, and I set up Homiana to start with at like 73 degrees.
right,
Like
and
90.
that's like Spangler. You're like 74. You've killed them. You're like
Yeah.
yeah. It's so frustrating, and that's the more I get, and the more species, it's becoming more and more difficult to incubate things like I used to. I used to do a lot of shelf, but now my room's heating up more because
Just
I have
too
more
hot.
things. I
Yeah.
used to brewmate my Spangorite in a closet in the basement. Now it's too warm, and I didn't get any eggs this year because they didn't get below 65. It's so it's great to actually be at one place where I can go to Betsy Meeker and talk to her about Spangorite, or Anthony Filioni talking about Spangorite, and get different perspectives of what's working for them and where I could be screwing up or what could be working for me. So that it's like you're at the one-stop shop for anyone you can imagine with pretty much any species you can imagine. Uh, who generally multiple people who can sit and talk with you about different things. So honestly, I don't know anyone who's come and not enjoyed their time. And Mark De Silva, I give him a really hard time about it, and because after on the first day, like he came in on Thursday last year with Anthony, and
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
as we were going to lunch the first day, he actually just came out to hear me talk last year. All he cared about was Russians. And he goes, yeah, it's nice here, but I don't think I'm going to come back or anything. I just really wanted to hear about the Russians. I just laughed. And he's here, this year. So just
Well,
goes to show, you know,
yeah.
after you experience the full conference, it's really difficult. And he didn't even stay for the auction. That was just, he was here Thursday and Friday. So you really, it's an unbelievable.
Awesome.
So I don't know. Did I show Cameron?
Nope. Cameron
Cameron
Lamb.
Lamb.
How's it
Not
going?
not Cameron Chase or what? What
Not
is the other
Cameron
Cam?
Chase.
What was that?
You mean Ryan Stewart?
I mean,
Oh my God, you just did that live?
Ryan Stewart, right?
His name is
The guy who's smuggling stuff and selling them. That guy.
hey.
Yeah.
I
Oh, sorry.
I
I'm
don't
sorry.
know
We don't
anything.
mean to call people
I
out
don't know
live on.
anything.
Yeah, I don't know anything either. I don't even. Don't buy from Southern Rip Up.
There's just a new Cameron in town, or Chase Lamb.
Yeah.
Chase Lamb. It's
was
not
kind of
Cameron,
slammed
and
up.
it's not related to Cameron. Just a heads
Yeah,
up.
definitely not related to Cameron Lamb's solid. Cameron Lamb's exotics, definitely. Get some turtles and tortoise from him.
Yes.
And other exotics. He's got lizards. He's got some Argus monitors right now.
Yeah.
I'm loving. So I'm staying with Cameron while I'm here.
That's right.
I don't know if anyone knows. I think his name's Richard Carter, the Mink Man, on YouTube. But he has minks that
I've
he
heard
hunts
about
with
that.
for mice. But he also has an Argus monitor that he has for mice. It's insane. He has a train. So now I want an Argus monitor. We have Jeff Casparrett, who I want to have on the show
Hey
soon.
Jeff. Cleveland forever.
How's it going, Tom?
Cleveland
It's
forever.
going.
Cleveland forever. Yes. Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
So it looks like everyone's starting to head out to dinner.
Okay.
So
Well, thank you for
I
joining
appreciate
us,
you guys
Matthew.
holding on.
Go
No,
eat.
thank you guys for waiting. I felt really bad. I was like, it's Tom. It's waiting. They're going over. So I appreciate you guys.
Okay, Matthew.
All right, we'll
Thank
see
you
you
much.
guys.
Yep.
Yes, sir. Bye.
Adios. Oh, that was awesome. It is so fun there. It is just a big party. And, there's not, you have to kind of be together because you can't get away from people, quite honestly. There's not that many restaurants and you'll just keep kind of seeing the same people and over again. So let's talk about the Western Hingebacks. No gooey. They're just, they're awesome. They make really good pets if they one or two animals. you can produce 5 to 15 eggs and babies just with a pair. They seem to be really prolific. Um, they they grow fast. We're getting them to sexual maturity at like 3 or 4 years old, believe it or not. And um, they're the only tortoise I know, and they're just now I do have that little baby Greek tortoise, but they're just so different. They have different proportions, different body shapes. The hinge is really cool. Um, they eat worms, and being able to feed them worms and watch them like hunt and grab things. Oh, that is so cool. Um, but they will also just eat lettuce. Can you keep them together in pairs? You can. It is possible. Um, but it also sometimes doesn't work. The male will just be on the female too much. I mean, it kind of reminds me of what I hear about testudo. Um, so for my Nogui, I have them all separate. But Dave, I know Dave Mifsud, he would always have them in trios or in pairs, and I kept a pair together for about 15 years. And it's just easier for me to know how they're doing separate. But they don't do like good in big groups. So it's just not good. So they're a great animal to have a few of. It's not a animal like a redfoot that you buy 10 or 15 and keep them in a big colony. Um, but yeah, there's just something cool about watching a tortoise like hunt down a worm or a millipede or something like that, and to be able to feed them mushrooms, but then also to be able to just feed them greens, like a regular tortoise. I mean, they really will eat all kinds of stuff and slugs. I like to keep mine outside for the daytime and just watch them explore. They hide. They like lots of cover, but they come out, graze, hunt, eat little bugs. I think it's super fun. So it's one of the first tortoises I ever kept, and they know you. They a lot of times they will get to recognize you, and will come over to you when you're bringing food to them and things like that. But even the babies sometimes will take swipes at each other's eyes. I was having a conversation with someone on Facebook about eastern box turtles, baby eastern box turtles biting each other. And sure enough, the Western Hingebacks will do that too. Um, so they're just a really cool species. They're an underrated species. And yeah, if you'd like to try them, turtlesandtortoises.com. Jay Frewer has some, and he's running a 20% off uh, sale. So trios help keep Herman's males from aggravating the female all the time. Yeah. Um, the thing with the female westerns is that they fight. The females will flip each other over and smash into each other. I mean, I had a trio that I kept outside in a pen that was like 18 feet long by 14 feet in the other direction. And I would just go out there, and the big female would just be on her like totally upside down. And I'm like, what the heck? Yeah, the other female would just flip her over. So um, that is one of the challenges. But I will tell you, that is why so many of those animals that were single pets survive for 20, 25 years. They have fairly big home ranges. They don't see each other a lot. So yeah, that's that. So I hope you all enjoyed tonight. Thanks for sticking around. And that was really cool to be able to get a live look at everyone at TTPG. And I couldn't make it this year, but I hope to make it next year. So, and I hope I get to see many of you there. And if you have any questions about TTPG at any time, just let me know. One of the great things about the conference is that it can be a long experience. You can go there Tuesday night, take in the whole field trip on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, go to the reptile show on Saturday, stay for the auction Saturday night, or you could just fly in for a couple days. So, um, Christopher, thank you. And yeah, TTPG next year. I mean, I always will try to go. So yeah, absolutely. Let's take a photo. Everybody that was here tonight virtually that gets there live together next time. So hopefully we'll get to go. But no shade if you aren't able to go. We all understand. We have lives and we have turtles and families and um, so. Um, thank you very much. I will see you next Thursday. That's not Thanksgiving. Um, I think it is Thanksgiving. So I'm not going to be doing anything at 8 o'clock next Thursday. So why don't we have a special Thanksgiving show and maybe we can all tell how thankful we are for our turtles and tortoises and our loved ones who uh, tolerate and or support us keeping all of those turtles and tortoises. So thank you everyone. Appreciate the kind words. We'll see you next week. Happy Thanksgiving, safe travels. Yeah, enjoy it. We'll see you next week. Happy Thanksgiving.